Every trader on the planet has the exact same dream, to catch that one massive, life-changing trend. It's the Holy Grail. The legendary Jesse Livermore, he spent his entire life mastering this. But what if I told you his secret wasn't some ridiculously complex system, but actually a simple shift in how you see things? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today.
First things first, you have to understand there are basically two kinds of people in the market. And look, it has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's all about your approach. On one side, you've got the crowd. They're constantly reacting to news, jumping on the latest can't-miss system, and making moves based on pure fear. But then you have the professional. They're just quietly observing behavior, following a core principle, and acting with incredible patience. Our goal here is to figure out how to jump from that first group to the second.
So, yeah, we all want to catch that big move. That's the dream. But here's the problem. Most people get totally lost. They're just drowning in a sea of indicators, so-called expert opinions, and all the noise inside their own heads. And they never realize the market is literally telling them everything they need to know.
This quote right here, this is the whole game. Big trends don't just show up with a marching band. They start out as quiet whispers. So your job isn't to predict the future. It's to get quiet enough to hear what the market is telling you right now. So how on earth do you do that?
Okay, this is where we get to the heart of it all. How do you actually hear that whisper? And spoiler alert, it's not a secret formula or some magic indicator. It's a way of looking at the market that might just flip everything you think you know on its head. And here it is, the one simple trick. You stop trying to guess what the market will do, and you start paying close attention to what it refuses to do. Because that refusal, that's where the truth is. It's a total shift from trying to be a fortune teller to just being a good detective. When the market is supposed to do one thing and it does the opposite, that is a massive clue.
So let's make this real. Think about it. A company gets hit with absolutely terrible news, and the stock just doesn't make a new low. It refuses to go down. What is that telling you? It's telling you that some very strong, quiet hands are in there buying up every share they can. On the flip side, what if a stock has a fantastic earnings report? The news is great, and it can't go up? That's a huge sign of weakness. These are the whispers.
So the million-dollar question is, how do you make this practical? How do you go from this idea to actually reading the market's behavior as it's happening? Well, it all starts with learning how to separate the signal from the noise.
I want you to imagine you're standing on a beach, watching the ocean. Most people, they're completely captivated by the waves, the daily ups and downs, the crazy swings. They're trying to guess where the very next wave is going to crash. That, my friends, is the market's noise. And it is designed to distract you.
But the professional, they're not looking at the waves. They're watching the tide. Is the tide slowly coming in, or is it slowly going out? In the market, the tide is the real underlying trend. It's that clear series of higher lows in an uptrend or lower highs in a downtrend. That is the only direction that matters.
Livermore learned this the hard way. There's a famous story where he was shorting a stock that was in a massive uptrend. Why? Because his ego got in the way. He just decided the market is wrong. This thing has to fall. He was fighting the tide. Every single day, the price was telling him he was wrong, but he ignored the message, and he took a huge, painful loss.
And that very painful experience taught him what is maybe the most valuable lesson in trading. The price action itself, what the market is actually doing, is the only truth you can rely on. Everything else, the news, the talking heads, your own brilliant theory, it's all just a distraction. The market tells the story first. The reasons always come later.
Now this all sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Just watch what the market refuses to do? Easy enough. But if it's so simple, why does almost everyone fail at it? Because the biggest obstacle you're ever going to face isn't on a chart, it's in the mirror. These right here, these are the real enemies of every single trader. Fear, which makes you sell at the absolute bottom. Ego, which whispers in your ear, you know better than the market. Haste, that feeling that you have to get in a trade right now. And boredom. Oh, boredom is a silent killer. It convinces you to make dumb trades just for the excitement of it.
So what's the weapon you use to fight all these inner demons? It's not a better piece of software. It's not more intelligence. It's one word: discipline. It's the ability to set your rules based on what the market is telling you and then having the guts to actually stick to them no matter how much your fear or ego is screaming at you to do something else.
And please, never forget this. You can be an absolute genius, but if you can't control your emotions, you will lose money to someone with average intelligence who has rock-solid discipline. The market is a test of your character, way more than it's a test of your intellect.
And this brings us to the final and honestly the most difficult part of this whole equation. It's the one skill that probably generates more profit than any other, yet it's the one thing most people just cannot bring themselves to do.
Just let that sink in for a second. It's so counterintuitive, right? We're taught our whole lives to act to do something. But in trading, once you've done your homework, you've spotted the trend, you've taken your position, your main job is over. The hardest part and the part that makes you the most money is having the patience to just sit on your hands and wait.
And if you understand how a trend is born, you'll see exactly why waiting is so powerful. Look, big trends don't start with a party. They start in disbelief, when everyone thinks the idea is crazy. That's when the smart money is quietly buying or accumulating. Your job is to spot that happening. The general public, they only rush in way at the end, during the public participation phase, which is often right before the top. The professional is already in and just waiting.
And really, if you remember nothing else from this, remember this right here. It all comes down to this single, powerful idea. You can argue with the market all day long, you can have 100 reasons why it should go up or down, but at the end of the day, the market's verdict is the only one that counts. Your job isn't to be right. Your job is to get in line with what the market is already doing.
So you see, the simple trick isn't really a trick. It's a whole philosophy. It's about silencing all of your own internal noise, your ego, your fear, your need to be busy, so that you can finally hear the quiet truths the market is whispering to you every single day. The only question is, are you quiet enough to listen?